terms of defining your identity, the second thing we're going to look at is values, which answers the question of what matters most to you. Values are formed in childhood but can be adapted as you go through different life changes. They are many times influenced by our upbringing or passed down through generations by family. It's the reason many people in the military have a legacy of family members who were also in the military, or there's a generational value placed on service or courage. That's because our values serve as guideposts toward our individual purpose, and by examining in detail which principles are most important to us, we can see patterns shaping how we interact with other people or in certain situations. Let's take the real-world example of this in Roy Disney, the less famous sibling of his brother Walt. Like the rest of us, Roy's values dictated the choices he made throughout his life. Unlike Walt, Roy was known to be very shy and hated the limelight. He served as the business mind to his creative-leaning brother, and even though he sold his company shares to Walt in 1929, he later became the CEO of Disney Studios. When Walt died, Roy postponed his retirement to oversee the construction of Disney World, which he later renamed to Walt Disney World in honor of his brother, and then retired again once it opened. From this little bit that we know, we can make some assumptions about the few of the values that Roy held. 1, family was important to him, fame was not. His upholding of his brother's name and legacy after death may have meant that he was focused on rightness, or equity, or honor. Maybe he shouldered responsibility to finish the thing that his brother had put so much of his life into. Interestingly enough, it was Roy that understood values the best. He said, "It's not hard to make decisions when you know what your values are." Like Roy Disney, each of us has certain values we adhere to called our core values, and these values shape how you make decisions and interact with the world around you. The secret is to find out which values guide your thinking and shape your worldview. As you look over this module's worksheet, review the list of values and mark which of those you feel most inclined toward. There may be 4, there may be 20, but mark any of them that you feel drawn to, or feel free to add others if you see fit. Once you have your list, pull out the top 5 values and put them in order of what is most important to you, and rewrite those in their own short list. Do you see any patterns? Maybe you selected the words power, leadership, and confidence. What do you think those 3 point to when put together? Basically, what you've done in this case is identify the top 5 principles, traits, or ideals that matter to you, your core value. Keep them in mind. As you're identifying potential careers, you may want to hold them up for examination against the company you want to work for, the people you want to work with, or the type of job you want to do to ensure their values match. Let's just look at one more example. Imagine that you take a job as a salesperson for a large pharmaceuticals company. As the months progress, your supervisor starts asking you to play with your numbers a little bit, to make them look better for an audit by the management and the company. How you will handle that scenario in real life is still up for debate, but I can tell you this. If your core values include honesty and integrity, you're going to have a real hard time falling in line. Most likely, it will cause you a fair amount of stress in your work life, and you'll have some hard decisions to make as to whether or not to be true to who you are at your core or the role you fill in your job. Remember, values are guideposts, not magic 8 balls. They don't give you all the answers, they just point the way to where your heart naturally lies. But just like guideposts, they're great to refer to along the way to make sure you're staying on the right path.